Happening now, an accused dog killer appears in court. Our continuing coverage coming up. Federal charges filed after a March raid.
And I'm Dakota Hunter in the First Defense Weather Center. Well, we've got rain today. That's going to be a good change of pace from the snow that we've had. But the temperatures will be on the uphill climb throughout the weekend, but they will fall back down a cliff for early next week. I will talk about all the details coming up.
The National Comedy Center announces headliners, and join us in our new and noteworthy segment, Your Comments, up next. That's news now for Wednesday, April 11th, 2018.
Live and on demand from the Chautauqua Audio Works studios in downtown Jamestown. This is your source for breaking news. WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm Justin Gould. It's 42 degrees. You're looking live at the Lakewood Skycam. A rundown of all the stories that you need to know is moments away. But first, we turn to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter, who's standing by with a first look at our forecast. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, good Wednesday, Justin, and good Wednesday, everybody. And hey, the temperatures will be on the uphill climb from here to the end of the week. But yeah, you probably don't want to get used to that. I'll talk about it in the full weather segment just a little bit later on. First of all, let's go to Links 1 and we'll take a look at the current temperatures across the region right now. And the temperatures actually are a bit warmer from where they were yesterday. That's always the good news. And temperatures are already starting to climb into the 40s in most locations. We have 37 degrees right now in Jamestown. It's 42 in Dunkirk, 42. Also up in Buffalo, it's 43 in the Falls, and it's freezing in Olean down in the Allegheny River Valley. So temperatures a little off the mark again. We should be in the 50s this time of the year, but things will really be changing as we go throughout late in the week. So partly cloudy skies throughout the day. Chance for rain showers. Now, I had to add this into the forecast for today. There is a chance for a few white snowflakes on the hills, but I think that's mainly going to be on the hills where the temperatures will be colder. So 40 on the hills, going to 47 everywhere else with a southwest wind of 10 to 15, but temperatures really soar up for the late week and early weekend. I'll talk about that in that full weather segment in just a few.
All right, Dakota, thank you. A story we've been following since its origin. The man who admitted to us that he hung his pit bull from a tree was back in court this morning. 47-year-old Robert Overton was charged with aggravated animal cruelty under New York's agriculture and markets law. He was allowed to turn himself in after police reportedly had enough evidence to charge him. Overton spoke with us a day before he surrendered to authorities. He explained why he got rid of the dog in the manner he chose to.
The first time he bit me, which is fine because dogs do that, you know what I mean? But I didn't think nothing of it. The second time he went after my daughter, he bit her on the butt. He never broke the skin. All right. The third time happened like 2:30 in the morning. He got aggressive with me, and when you're dealing with that spur of the moment thing, you're dealing with life or death.
Overton said he hanged the dog named Champagne in the beginning of winter after a third incident. He was formally arraigned and remanded to jail without bail. Jamestown police said they received hundreds of tips following the discovery of the animal in a wooded area off of Halleck and Palmer Streets last week. And federal drug and weapons charges were filed Tuesday against two men in the aftermath of a raid last month. Prosecutors said 27-year-old Tyler Craig Anderson and 26-year-old Robert Lincoln, both of Jamestown, conspired to make false statements when purchasing firearms. Anderson is also charged with using a firearm in the commission of trafficking cocaine. Ellicott police said surveillance on Anderson's Willard Street Extension home started with complaints of heavy vehicle traffic in the neighborhood. Federal authorities said police utilized confidential informants to buy drugs from Anderson at his residence. The complaints alleged informants advised police that Anderson was keeping an arsenal of weapons at his residence as well. A raid seized 14 guns, ammunition, plus a large amount of cocaine and marijuana. Prosecutors said Anderson received at least 3 of those guns from Lincoln. A Facebook account believed to be operated by Anderson allegedly suggested violence against law enforcement if there was an attempt to confiscate his weapons. That's according to the criminal complaint. Both men, if convicted, will face years in prison. And troopers continue to look into a Tuesday afternoon crash on Route 60 near the state police barracks that involved a tractor-trailer Volkswagen Bug and an All-Star EMS ambulance. Investigators are looking into the possibility that the driver of the Volkswagen Bug fell asleep at the wheel moments before rear-ending a stopped tractor-trailer who was yielding to a vehicle turning left onto Horton Road. The Volkswagen Bug then crossed into the northbound lane, striking an All-Star EMS ambulance. Police report no one sustained injuries in the crash. The ambulance was not transporting any patients at the time of the collision. Police said the investigation is ongoing. And the National Comedy Center announced Tuesday that Amy Schumer, Lily Tomlin, and members of the original SNL cast will be headlining their grand opening this August. The grand opening coincides with the annual Lucille Ball Comedy Festival, which runs from August 1st through August 5th. On August 2nd, Saturday Night Live cast members will recount stories of the show's past. Schumer is set to perform Friday, August 3rd, and Lily Tomlin on the 4th. Tickets go on sale to members on April 27th at noon and then to the public on May 4th at noon. It's all at nationalcomedycenter.org. And a neighborhood housing group is demolishing several buildings in the city to make way for a new park with green space and basketball courts. Executive Director of Code, Patrick Morris, believes the project, classified as one park in two different locations, fills a void for children of the community. Now, the park is scheduled to be completed by this summer. Coming up next, we are hearing from you. Let us know what you think about the stories and more that we just talked about. Plus, we have new information coming out of Jamestown City Court right after this.
Where coverage comes first.
What was up with...
You're watching WNY News Now. Where coverage comes first. You're watching WNY News Now.
The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
Everything's made fresh here. We love to be outside, and it's nice inside if it's raining, so we have a choice.
Locals and non-locals agree that the Main Landing is quickly becoming a destination.
It's just so casual, and just the food is amazing.
I love the hamburgers.
But I really like the tuna I had.
The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
I just love to be with the dogs, and I like to do them one at a time. They don't wait for 5 hours in my shop. We have full groom, which includes everything from A to Z, nails, of course brushing, any trimming that needs to be done. I do offer teeth brushing, which is a little extra. So if he takes me 2 hours, it's $40. If he takes me 3 hours, I still keep it down. As long as the dog comes back happy and not at the door, I'm happy.
And welcome back to News Now. It is time to hear from you in our new and noteworthy segment. Rory P. is in studio today. Hey, Rory, it's good to have you back. I don't know, are we not on? Oh, there we go. Yeah, our mics were being funny, but it's quite a news day throughout much of our areas as we're following major stories out of Jamestown City Court right now as we await to hear from our reporter Ryan Hedrick, who is in court at this point. Ryan is tweeting. That's why I brought up his Twitter real quick. If we can take a closer look at that control room.
I think one of the big factors, and the general public won't appreciate this, is the fact that cameras were allowed in. Right. That's major.
Which is major for today. So 26 minutes ago, Ryan tweeted, Jordan Alexander has supporters in court. An unidentified woman screamed, "I love you." Jordan responded with the same as he tried to look over his shoulder. Now, he is awaiting for Overton to still appear in court. Let's remind you what Jordan Alexander is accused of doing, this man here, and I'll make the photo bigger here on Twitter. Alexander is accused of leading police on a high-speed chase. back in March, on March 24th or thereabout. He led police, according to police, he led them on a high-speed chase. Now, this is a 19-year-old man from the city of Jamestown, and police charged him they charged him with unlawful imprisonment, reckless endangerment, and third-degree menacing. After he led them on a chase, he had other people in the car with him. And here's some footage from that night. I was actually on vacation during that time, but Ryan and Matt were covering this story. And crazy, the chase started in Jamestown, went all the way out to almost Kennedy, and then back to the city.
Well, I heard them pass my neighborhood. And it sounded like a presidential motorcade.
Right. I mean, all the lights and sirens, and we've seen chases like this before, but in the area. But the only thing is, it is pretty rare. Here's a better shot of Alexander.
Well, the other one that comes to mind was the one that ran up through Mayville. And that's the other big one. So there have been two in the last several months.
Right.
And I've always wondered why they don't realize they're just adding to their misery if they run.
Right. If you run from the cops, charges just keep piling on.
Well, it indicates guilt.
Right.
If you have nothing to hide, you don't run. If you run, that tells the police that something is wrong.
Right.
And fleeing is a charge unto itself.
Right. And not just that, but you also... And our Matt Hummel is adding here in the comments that Alexander was also wanted by Buffalo police for multiple armed robberies as well. Matt, thank you for that tidbit. And you see, not only does it, like you said, it kind of almost professes your guilt.
Yes.
But you put a lot of people in danger when you do crap like
that. I had a friend who's on the fringes of law enforcement, and he told me that unless it's a life and death situation, you really shouldn't do high-speed pursuits.
Right.
He said, it's not like chasing OJ where it's 20 miles an hour.
Right.
And that even though they're trained, the pursuers have as much chance of getting into it or causing an accident as the person they're chasing.
Right. And that usually is up to the discretion of the police department
as
well. I know we've spoke with Chief Snellings before about what their policies are for going on chases and,
Well, it has to be approved by the desk commander. They can't just do it. They have to get permission to engage the pursuit.
Right, absolutely. And that night, everyone, it was later in the evening, but still, I mean, there are people, what was it, a Friday night, I think?
I believe so.
There are people that were out and about, and it's, that's absolutely just dangerous. And again, so Jordan Alexander, a busy day for Jamestown City Court as he was just in court, according to Ryan Hedrick reporting that on Twitter. We are still waiting for Robert Overton to appear in front of a judge. Last I was in contact with Ryan was that he was still holding off to see that, but we do have cameras in the courtroom, which is another interesting remark. Another interesting point is that generally Jamestown City Court has a no camera policy at all.
Yes.
And we have to give credit to not just us, but to our we work a little bit with Channel 2 in Buffalo and other Buffalo stations and our affiliates, so to speak, and we have to give them credit for helping push that along. Obviously, this is a huge story that so many people are very interested in, and what Overton, what police say Overton has done, and what Overton admitted to us on this broadcast is just insane.
I don't understand how that helps him strategically. If I'm his lawyer, I'm saying you don't talk to anyone, because of course there's a difference between a media confession and. But it would not surprise me if it goes to trial instead of a plea. It would not surprise me that would be one of the key evidences the prosecution would attempt to use.
And now we've talked with our legal counsel here at WNY News now about possibly being subpoenaed.
Yes, I would anticipate that.
And we're prepared for that. I mean, we'll hand over all of our footage, willingly to the police.
I was subpoenaed once on a case, and it was I had to testify. And I testified, and then later on the prosecution told me my testimony was the key to getting the conviction. And I had mixed feelings on that because as a journalist, I'm not the story.
No.
But I had a confession to a crime in my story, and luckily I taped it, and we had the tape in the company safe.
Right.
So when it came time, the lawyer listened. He goes, eh.
Right.
So,
Right.
but that's not the only news going on. It seems court is the top thing, but we've got headliners coming to the National Comedy
Right.
Center.
Right.
We've just got news that's going to be coming out sometime this afternoon on our Facebook site and our web that the Salvation Army is getting a big grant for crisis victim case managers.
Right, which is very important, and really all of this, we talk about the big picture of our area. Jamestown, obviously great things going on with the National Comedy Center.
Yep.
But, you talk about, problems like Overton. You talk about problems like
Domestic abuse. That's a big one.
And programs like the Salvation Army and their new center to try to help, and it's great to hear that all of this is going on, and that we're getting that grant.
We're so on top of this that the finance officer for the Salvation Army didn't know they were getting it yet.
Well,
he had applied.
Journalists, that's for sure. Coming up next, Dakota Hunter with a look at our forecast, and your comments are coming in. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Stay with us.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now. With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Do news like no one else. Investigations that get results.
There was a bunch of kids over here playing football, and the ball kicked over onto her. She picked it up and took a butcher knife, stabbed it. Cops wouldn't do nothing.
WNY News Now investigates, standing up for you while holding the powerful accountable. If you have a problem, we're here to help. WNY News Now. WNY News Now is sponsored by Chautauqua Audio Works, 3335 South Roberts Road in Fredonia. More than a music store. Call 679-4333. Call now, 679-4333. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. Now, your first defense forecast with Dakota Hunter.
Hey, welcome back to News Now. Let's kick off the weather segment with the Sky Vision Camera Network. You're looking live at the Seneca Allegheny Casino, Skycam in Salamanca. You can see the traffic down there flowing on I-86 and some of the cloud cover there as well. It's 42 degrees with a dew point of 27 and a west-northwest wind of 6 miles per hour. Now, on the radar, you can see we don't have a whole lot showing up down in our direction, just this little band of rain up here currently up in Canada, and that doesn't look like that's going to bother us throughout the day today. And as we put the composite imagery on, bless you, whoever just sneezed over there. And again, as we look at the composite imagery, you can see a few snowflakes coming through the area over the past 5 hours. But again, I think mainly today it'll be rain, but on the hilltops might be a few snowflakes as well when the temperature is a little colder. Live look outside, you can see the cloud cover there and some breaks in the cloud cover as well, leading to some partly sunny skies out there as well. It's 37 degrees, current number at the Jamestown Airport, with a wind chill of 28 when you combine it with that southwest wind of 15. And this is below average. We should be around 52 this time of the year, but hang on, because warmer temperatures are on the way. Just short-term warmth, though. Here we go with future scan. You can see model kind of clears us out for the early afternoon, and then as we go throughout the later afternoon hours, you can see here comes this rain, and there's also this white band mixed in it as well. This is pretty much going to be that snow, mainly confined to the higher hilltops, where the temperatures will be colder. So again, around the hills, less than an inch of snow on the hills. Everybody else will see a cool soaking rain, and then it'll continue throughout the evening hours, maybe just a few more patches of lighter rain. And then as we go throughout the night tonight, probably partly cloudy skies throughout the night. And then here comes more rain by tomorrow morning. So by the time we come on the air, probably at noon tomorrow, we're going to be in this next rain band tomorrow. So soggy go morning commute, probably soggy for the afternoon commute as well. But I think maybe a few more breaks might start to peek in. Don't count on much sunshine tomorrow. I think probably more clouds than sun. Now we got to get into this scenario, which will be Saturday. There's a whole bunch of ideas, but these are the two biggest ideas we have on the computer models right now for Saturday. And this is going to be the best case scenario for everybody. Now, down in our direction, we're going to be warm in the 60s. No doubt which, it doesn't matter which scenario we get, we're going to be in the 60s. But northward, there's going to be this cold air coming in down from Canada. So the immediate Lake Ontario shoreline, probably 30s. Everywhere else, we're going to be in the 60s if this front moves to the north. The next scenario will be if the front stalls down to the south, we're going to still be down into the 60s. That's great. But everybody else, basically from Buffalo northward, is going to be in the 20s and 30s. Huge temperature contrast depending on where this front stalls out. And also, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if northern Chautauqua County, if this model actually is correct on this verification, if this is correct, Chautauqua County, the northern half, may end up being the 20s and the 30s, while down near the state line will probably be in the 60s. So again, this is going to be different. And also with this 20 and 30 northward, maybe some freezing rain. We're not forecasting that, but it's something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the week, going into the weekend. So for tomorrow, temperatures spike into the mid to upper 50s, and it's going to be rainy and soggy, though, and it's going to be windy, 15 to 25 miles per hour average wind. And then as we go eastward, pretty much the same story here, mid to upper 50s here, and the wind also will come up as well. I think it might be just below wind advisory criteria, but of course, we'll keep you updated on that if the Weather Service does issue a wind advisory for tomorrow. And don't forget, Storm Spotter training comes up on the 23rd, which is Monday. It's held in Jamestown. Of course, we need more spotters. We cannot have enough storm spotters, and we are in desperate need of storm spotters around here. Here come the next 7 days of your life, brought to you by Quick Solutions. And 69 Friday. I've still got 69 in the forecast. Now, I don't think we'll be at 70. The cloud cover and the rain will help keep our temperatures down. And again, Saturday, I've still got us in the 60s, but again, it's going to be debatable northward if that front stalls out to the north, and then temperatures just go back down for early next week. By next Tuesday, we'll be in the upper 30s once again with rain and snow showers. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. News Now will continue right after the break, so you stay with us.
First Defense Weather is sponsored by Quick Solutions of Jamestown. Count on Quick Solutions for printing, copying, mass mailings, and so much more. Part of your team. Learn more at QuickSolutionsUSA.com. That's QuickSolutionsUSA.com. You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
It's tax time, so get to Express Bike and Auto in Jamestown for all of your vehicle needs. Service, inspection, vehicle sales, they do it all. For all of your automotive, motorcycle, and ATV service needs, Express Bike and Auto even offers financing. Your true one-stop vehicle shop is Express Bike and Auto in Jamestown. They're located at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension next to Quick Fill. Express Bike and Auto in Jamestown. Stop looking, start saving today.
Where coverage comes first. You're watching WNY News Now. What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day.
I sat down with the candidate following last night's meeting, an interview you will only see on WNY News Now.
Small, proud, and dedicated community that is shocked, angered, sad.
The old Dunkirk City School building has been remodeled and retrofitted with 21st century technology.
Feel demoralized in a sense by the power structure?
I don't really know. I mean, maybe, but there's just not a lot of information, I guess, to change some things, I suppose.
Chautauqua County Executive George Borrello is in the nation's capital right now, advocating for several water projects in the county.
This ban will ultimately lay down some more snow our way over the next 24 or so hours. Now, zooming the radar out.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to New and Noteworthy. The conversation continues now with a look at your comments. And we're looking at Cindy's comment. She says, good, I'm glad that you'll turn it over to the courts. He needs jail time and could have found a good home for that dog. Cindy, you're right. Anytime that we obviously would need like some sort of legal document or subpoena just for our records to show, but we would most likely and most happily give over any footage that police or prosecutors requested. I wanted to show Nicole's comments here. So you have cameras on a person killing a dog, but what about the 2 child abuse cases that are happening now as well? Truly pathetic that people care more about animals than humans.
I think I would point out the difference is they're trying to protect the identity of the children.
Right.
And if the children were in the court, a camera would reveal who they were.
Right.
There's a big move in law enforcement to protect young victims. That's why we don't list minors who get arrested by name.
Right, right, and that's the whole point of family court comments. And it looks like Nicole just commented on not all over like Roberts. So she says child abuse matters. Why are parents facing and cases all over like Roberts? So that's I know child abuse is very important. And Ryan and I had this discussion a while back where we were talking about, the difference between we see such an outpouring of support when it comes to this case. I mean, we've had, hundreds of thousands of people tune into this story from across the region, if not the entire country and the world. Mm-hmm. And we have a child abuse case or a story about domestic violence, and it doesn't get as much traction as this.
Well, a prime example that pops into my mind is Nyla.
Right. And that is where you hit the nail on the head with the Nayla Hodnick case, Rory, because no justice. There's been no justice. And I know her Aunt Camille has been working with Ryan very, very closely with this, and she's fighting for justice. And we've gone from district attorney to district attorney now with Swanson, where it has just sat there. And, police believe that Tyler Perez, the community believes rather
is
that
a person of interest.
Responsible, right? He's a person of interest. The community seems to indict him, right? And when you get into that, it gets dangerous because
he hasn't been officially charged with anything,
right? But you have such an overwhelming support of this, and the aunt seems to think that it's like we should at least push this to trial so that we can get some justice for many other little ones.
Here's the dichotomy that I question. As horrible as the hanging of the dog was, I had a relative respond to our story by saying he's going to be hated more than if he had hung a kid.
Right.
And there does seem to be this, not saying animals' lives are not important,
right,
but human lives are the priority.
Right, right.
And so I don't understand, and yet it's interesting, those are the stories that hit
right.
the public. The public goes nuts responding.
Right. And it gets to people that way. And I think that obviously the nature of this crime where he hung the dog, that is so shocking, right? You're in a neighborhood where you see something like this, you're like, geez, what the, you could throw
what's this guy thinking?
Out there. Right. What is wrong with this man? And, God, and this is the thing that we talked about before too, is the fact that, if he does this to a dog, imagine what he could do to other people.
Well, that's it. When it first broke, my very first reaction was, how sick is this individual and what else has happened?
Right.
And it makes you wonder if CPS has been involved or anything like that, because if you're willing to do that to a living creature, an animal, how far is that gap between doing that to a 4-year-old who won't shut up or a 6-year-old who's still wetting the bed or whatever?
Right.
And I think the public is probably more enraged over this than anything in a while. And it makes me wonder because this is the first time that he's been arrested for it, doesn't mean it's the first time necessarily that it occurred.
That he's been caught with it. So, of course, we're going to keep on this story and have much more on our website coming up a little bit later on. I do want to turn to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. I know we have him here as well. Dakota,
There's
real
the man.
quick, what's the rest of the forecast for today? Just real quick.
Well, pretty much for today, pretty much rain showers throughout the day. Now, there might be a chance for a few wet snowflakes, especially on the hilltops, but everybody should be rain with below average temperatures. So.
All right, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Are we
Of course,
running
the conversation
behind
continues online
on the
at
calendar? We're below
WNYNewsNow.com.
seasonal
Ryan
levels?
Hendrick will have a full report coming up in just a bit from Jamestown City Court. We'll keep you updated on what's going on there. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.